So, none.
Hey Michael, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm in isolation. I'm in quarantine, so we have to do the podcast from a safe distance.
Yeah, but this time we have some video, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we're trying out the latest and greatest, so this will be awesome.
I'm also in quarantine myself, in a bit of
Yeah,
isolation.
that must be really hard for you, Nun. How do you cope?
I don't know, Michael. It's just so difficult, all these
So,
things.
so what do you do when you're in
Oh,
isolation?
yeah, that's very interesting because for me, isolation is something that I don't know. It's good. I think it's important to have something productive to do, something where you're educating yourself. Because I think a lot of us we tend to look for entertainment, and then we get bored when there's like nothing to do, and we're like, what is there to do? But for me, I like to use it to learn something,
Mm.
because we have the internet, we can learn to speak a new language, we could learn to meditate, we could learn how to cook, watch movies, read a book. It's like the world is in your hands.
I mean, it's not really isolation because you have contact with other people. You can talk to people on the internet. You can
Mhm.
watch videos. Like isolation for me would be like being locked in a dark room with no interaction, no lights, and just, or isolate yourself.
Yeah. How do you find it, Michael?
I really was worried. I was thinking I'm gonna go mad just being home, going to be restless, but it was really good. It's really relaxing. Don't feel guilty for sitting at home playing video games, being up all night and sleeping in. And usually I have that guilt, like I should have done something. I should have been productive. I should. And now it's so nice because there is no should. Why should I work on my business? I mean, everyone could die, so that would be a waste. Why not just really relax and recharge and, have a good time?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's important to think about positive things as well.
And there is a
Because
lot of things you can do at home. Continue, Nun.
for me, I think it's so important more than ever to be grateful for what we have. Because even
Mm.
though there's a lot of things that you could say being taken away, our way of life has changed. But I think it's a good time for us to use this opportunity to find out about yourself and maybe plan out your goals and your dreams and what you want to accomplish after this is all over, because this will eventually pass, and then things will be back to the way they were, but maybe a bit different, because I feel like we would appreciate things more, because most of us, we're just living every day thinking that we don't even think about it. We take it for granted. We don't even think, oh, yeah, this is so awesome. I get to go to work, or I get to see my friends. To us, it's a given. But now it's
Mm.
like taken away, and we realize that, wow,
Yeah,
it
you
can,
don't know what you have until lose it.
yeah, yeah.
So I think a lot of people has been on autopilot for a very long time, and something like this is one of these things that can shake you out of that autopilot. As you said, you're just living your life, you're just doing things without really thinking. I think we can definitely, a lot of people will wake up and be, I think it's like when the Vikings, you know, they started on a brand new rune stone. It's like you can have a clean slate and like a new beginning.
A new beginning. Yeah, yeah. That's. And what do you think is gonna happen until then? Like, what do you think?
I think sort of like there's a lot of speculations and basically we don't know, but basic human psychology is like a pendulum, and when the pendulum swings to the positive side,
Yeah.
people are too positive. They think the good times are always going to be there, and when it swings to the other way, that's when people are really pessimistic and you just see how everything is going wrong. And I think we went from here to here, so obviously somewhere in the middle. So I don't think it's going to be as bad as people think it is, and when it's over we will be like, wow, I didn't realize how quick it went, you know, and life would be back to normal.
Yeah, yeah. But then again, it's gonna be quite. The thing about this is so unpredictable. You know, that's like the only thing that we know for sure is unpredictability. Because like it is quite like for someone like me who have weak immune system and can't breathe and can't cough, it's it's quite intimidating. Even
Oh,
if it's like,
yeah.
oh, it's not that bad, but to me and a lot of my friends, it's like that's yeah. There's no getting out of that if we get it. But I think in the
Yeah.
meantime, hopefully everybody is responsible and they follow the procedures and they try to, they were talking about flattening the curve. So
Mm.
hopefully, but even if they flatten out the curve, less people will get sick, but it's still around. So for someone like me, it's still quite scary.
And when they're talking about flatten the curve, this is what they're talking about. So you have the corona is a very like high spike, and normally it goes more like evenly, and the healthcare, the line here is the capacity of healthcare. So one
Yeah.
of the biggest problem is that you get this really short spike and everyone needs to access the hospitals at the same time, and
Mm.
that is a very very big challenge. So this might not be that bad, but it becomes that bad when the healthcare system is not able
Yeah,
to
yeah.
have the capacity. And that's why this is different to other ones, because it's peaking. It seems to be peaking really quick and really like it goes bang and then it's over.
Mm.
So I think Italy went bang, and I think they will probably see less. And then Australia might go bang, and somewhere else might go bang. But I think once you go bang, I think it may be over. We don't know, but I wouldn't be too worried. But talking about fear and stuff like that would be quite scary for you, being dependent on people and having a weak human system. How do you respond to yourself? How do you deal with the fear?
Um, well, before even before all this corona virus, I've always been avoiding sick people because it's not just the coronavirus, it's the flu, it's a cold, it's a chest infection. Like they're all pretty bad to me. Like so that's why I've been avoiding people. And I haven't been sick for maybe 2, 3 years now, but it's scary because I haven't been sick for so long. If I were to get sick, I don't know if it's that bad. Because I don't know if the immune system needs to, do anything or you need to train the immune system. I don't know, you know. But
Yeah,
I've
I
been
mean,
trying to.
we don't know. So, but that would be scary because, as you said, the immune system needs to have like drills, like a fire drill. But if you haven't had a fire drill for a long time, it might get confused and might not know where the stuff is and how to do.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's that's scientific, but that's what I think anyways. So yeah.
So how do you deal with the thoughts around this fear? Because they would be quite scary for you at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't really do much, you know, you only do what you can, right? If they tell us to isolate, we do that and take the precautions, and do what you can. Because, like, if it happens, then it happens. You can't really stop it. But it's about keeping your mind positive and focus on good things and do the best you can to live your life. Because, like, even without the corona, I would still, take action, do what I want to do. Like the podcast, like you have to do isolation, and we can't do a podcast
And
together.
it forced us to do it differently. And that's why we're
Yeah.
using video.
And and you could also say if that didn't happen, we wouldn't even use video. We wouldn't even think about this because this is like another step. We're using video now, and it's like, where can we go from here?
Yeah, it's
So,
good with the limitations because limitations tend to create creativity.
mm. And what about you? Do you have any fears around this?
Um, I do have fears, but I don't know. It's tricky because I'm not scared of being sick. I'm just scared of sort of society would go bananas and there would be crime and it would be like dangerous and people start looting and it's like the zombie movies. I
Oh,
have
wow.
that catastrophizing, like how things could go wrong and maybe you lose your job and you can't pay rent and you have to be on the street begging for food and what if, and then at that point you just have to stop yourself and like that's not going to happen. Worst case scenario, you will have less money and there will be a lot less you can do and you can always lock your door and
Yeah,
it will be fine. We've always gone through hard times and hard times is usually very education.
yeah. It is. It is. It can bring the good, best in people, or you could say the worst.
And
But
a good thing that I really like is that Mother Earth gets to have a breathe. The amount of CO2 that's been reduced have been major, 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 major. And I have friends in Asia and I've heard in Manila in the Philippines, the air is already starting to be more fresh and less
wow.
pollution, less smog. So this is really good. If we could live more like this and consume less and, not, have a more sustainable lifestyle, that would be good.
Yeah, because I think it comes down to like the balance. Because a lot of the times the pendulum is swinging left to right. It's never in the middle. Like even with this outbreak, this one side is like super scared, panic buying, buying toilet paper, you know. And then one side is like, oh yeah, I don't care. It's not that bad. It's not gonna get me. I don't want. And they're like, I don't. It doesn't bother me. And it's like, I think we should be in the middle. We should
Yes.
prepare, but we don't panic. We don't become fearful, and. But we still need to be aware of these things and do what's necessary. Otherwise, it's just gonna go crazy.
And I think like you describe it so well, what you need is just balance. And that comes to like everything. If you have balance, then you're good.
Yeah. Hmm.
So we will recover from this, and it will be interesting. I think people will be more self-aware after this, because a lot of people was forced to wake up.
Yeah, definitely.
So what have you noticed since the virus? Like I have been like away, and I have, during my 4 weeks in Thailand, everything was just like normal. And coming back to Australia, I haven't really got to experience anything. The only thing I can see is my street. The rest, I don't know. So when they say they're going to shut restaurants and they're going to do this and that, I don't really see that. So have you seen any changes to things?
Yeah, well, in Nala, for example, um, like I went out like maybe 4 or 5 days ago. Um, and it's like everybody has a mask on. Not many people are out and around, and it's so different. The shopkeepers have masks, and the people buying, the customers gloves and masks, and it's so, I don't know, it's so different. It's so different. But you've been in isolation, so you haven't had a chance to see anything.
No, I haven't had. I mean, I have been meditating on my balcony and seen people coming by, and that's it. But back in Sweden, it's very different approaches. In Sweden, they don't have that. You're not required to self-isolate. It's a recommendation. So
Oh,
people are still going out, and they don't really take it that seriously. I think it's a European thing. Like with Italy, I think they're really lax. They like, I'm going out and have my espresso anyways, doesn't care about the
uh,
virus. They want to do whatever they do. And in Sweden, people just like they go out less, yes, and some businesses shut because there's not enough customers. So market is sort of doing it for them. But here in Australia, it's like it's mandatory. I get $13,000 in fine if I go out, and like non-essential businesses is not opened.
yeah, that's quite foreign. So have
But
you done the no, no, you continue.
no, you continue. No, I'll let you talk.
I was gonna, I was gonna ask about the testing. Did you do the testing yet?
When I got to Australia, there was no test available at that point.
All right.
However, they did a swab test in Singapore, the one that takes 3 hours, and that came back negative. But they said it sort of, it's, what would you say? It's a swab test, and they said you can still catch it on the plane and on the way home. But that
Oh,
was
okay.
negative, and they checked your temperature, they checked the
Mm.
thermal camera, they ask you a bunch of questions, and so I was good to go, because they're really strict when you're transiting through, and if you're sick, you're not allowed to go. So far,
Wow.
so good. In Australia, they're using the old, or there is two tests you can do. You can do the swab test. The swab test, you get result within 3 hours. And the other test is a more advanced test, an older advanced test, and it takes like 3 or 4 working days to get the result. But the swab
Okay.
test, you don't need to send it anywhere. You get result where you do the test. You just have to leave the device for 3 hours, and it will tell you either positive or
Is that
negative.
the one where to put it up your nose, or is that the mouth?
Mouth. It's similar to when they do drug testing.
Oh,
If you've seen that on television, the Australian, when they do the alcohol testing, but they swab too, so it's like a little, like a thing
oh
they
yeah.
and then they put it in some little machine.
Hmm.
So now it's been 8 days. So next weekend I'm released back into the community.
You release that, but you still catch it, can't you? That's a scary thought too. So it's like you isolate, you're negative, and then you can catch it.
Yes, yes. And I think, you said to me, Noon, you should surround yourself with positive people, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, there should be like a positive group that we should a group of people online. That'd be pretty good. So what would your recommendation be to, I guess, be more positive?
Stop beating yourself up. That would be my number one, because I think a lot of people, we are bashing ourselves up. If we make a mistake, we're like, I'm such an idiot for making that mistake. We don't judge other people like that. If someone else makes a mistake, you just say, oh, he made a mistake, nice.
Mm-mm.
But when you make the mistake, you're like, oh, I'm such an idiot. I'm so bad at this, and I'm so terrible, and I'm so fucking useless, and this happens all the time, yada yada. Stop that and stop pressuring yourself, because that pressure is actually taking so much energy. If you pressure yourself, oh, I should do this, I should do that, I should do this, it's sort of hijacking a lot of energy. And I know this in self-isolation, because I'm not doing that, I'm not having
Yeah.
that pressure. I have so much more energy, and I'm feeling so much calmer and lighter, and it's like, wow. So, let yourself, give yourself a break, and don't pressure yourself, and don't, like, it's okay to have a bad day. We all have bad day, and people are fucking bullshitting on Facebook all the time. They have 3 good days and they have 5 bad days. Of course, they're going to show you the good days, and we did this and I did that, and it's bullshit. People have bad days, and people have a lot of stuff going on, but people don't talk about it. So just because it's you, it doesn't matter. It's everyone has problems, and people have bad days, and allow yourself to have a bad day. If you have a bad day, just say, I have a bad day. It's okay,
Yeah.
and stop.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. Because and I think like at the core, because of my, beliefs, and I'm into all the spirituality, and they talk a lot about the ego, right? And when you think about it, a lot of the times it's the ego that gets in the way that causes us so much pain. Like you said, if you're sad, then just admit it. But the ego is like, oh no, I'm not going to admit it. People will think I'm weak. They're going to think I'm a burden. Or, we have all these thoughts when we think about negative thoughts. They were like, actually, expressing these thoughts, emotions will benefit me. So do it.
Yes.
That's how I see it. Like let's say if you see a counselor or psychologist, a lot of us think, oh, I'm not crazy, or I'm not weak, and people are going to judge me, and again it comes back to the ego,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
the sense of I, so if we can deal with that, I think it will help us so much to
And
even
with
be more positive too.
Yeah, and with what you just said, going to a psychologist or a psychiatrist or whatever, you go to counselor like if you have a car, right, and you're starting to see that, you hear some weird sounds, and the brakes might not be working properly, you see that there is problems. What do? Do you pretend that everything is okay and not do anything about it, or do you take it to a professional that can diagnose the problem and fix it?
Hmm.
Why is that so shameful? I mean, I go to both. I mean, I go to psychologists. I've gone to many of them, and I
Hmm.
mean, that has helped me. I'm going there to make the engine run even better.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what's wrong with that? It's like people are scared of dealing with their shit. So they lock up their demons, and then they come up, at random times. But if you
Hmm.
take them up and deal with them, you can actually resolve the problem. But one thing, Nun, that I want your advice on is, I find comparing with other people, like, I know now when I'm in self-isolation, it doesn't feel as bad because I know that everyone else is in self-isolation. And if I would break my leg and I know my friends are out there surfing and having a great time, I feel pain. But if everyone else would also break their leg, then I wouldn't feel as much pain. It's like the pain is connected to who you compare yourself to. What's your thoughts?
On comparing
Yeah, you're
about
comparing your problem and yourself. Like now when everyone else isolates, it might make you feel better about isolating or sitting at home because everyone else
yeah.
is doing it. So it feels like better. It's like otherwise you become like jealous.
So what I guess for me, what helps me is like to realize that everybody has their own unique problems. Like for example, if you're a doctor, right? You would have problems only a doctor would understand. But if you're a taxi driver, you're not going to have the same problems as the doctor, right? You might have a different type. Like maybe the taxi driver, uh, someone didn't pay, when he took them to a place, and then now he has to take them to court and all this sort of thing. Whereas the doctor may not have to worry about that, but maybe they have to worry about uh, a big operation that's coming up, like a heart surgery or something like that, and they worry about that. And everyone has their own problems, and it's hard to actually use that, right? Because sometimes we all know it, but it's hard. Like when you're in pain, it's really hard to think about other people in a positive way, right? We end up,
Mm.
oh, look at them, they can walk, and that's what I used to do. Like they can walk and they can go play and do all these things, but that's only, and like you said before, people are only showing the good sides. Like everyone is showing the good side. Nobody ever shows bad habits. Like when we go out in public, right? Everyone's like all good, and nobody has bad habits. Most people.
I think a lot of people are pretending to. Like, I think mental health, some people think that mental health has gone downhill the last, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. But I think it's more like it's more open. We talk about it. And that makes it seem like the amount of problems are going up because people are admitting, people are seeking help, but it's actually a good thing that they do. And like I've battled with anxiety myself for the last 20 years or so. And I used to think my problems was worse than everyone else, but it's not really so. If someone has pain in their back or I have anxiety, it's the same area in the brain, so it's the same sort of pain we feel. And why is it worse with someone with physical pain versus psychological pain? It's the same thing. If you're anxious, you want to lay down, you don't want to go out. If you have pain, you want to lay down and you don't want to go out. So it's sort of the same thing, but it's just, it's mental health. It's like you cuckoo in the head. Yes, I am cuckoo in the head, and I think everyone knows that, and I'm proud of
Yeah,
that. But
I think we're all
what's
cuckoo in the head. Like every one of
yeah?
us, we all have that cuckoo side.
So what's your thought about physical versus mental pain slash suffering?
Oh, that's interesting, huh? I feel like with the physical pain, it's mm, for me. I find the physical pain harder than the emotional pain because for me, I've throughout my journey, I was able to, because a lot of the times when we have a bad negative emotion, we think of it as bad and negative and pain, but at a very young age, I realized that that's like a perception, right? If you were to change your perception and see the negative thoughts and emotions as good, you know, as yeah, as good. You don't beat yourself up when you feel that way, you know? Because some of us, we are like, oh, why do I feel sad? Why can't I just get over it? What's wrong with me? You know, but if you don't judge it and you say, oh, we're all humans and these are emotions that we experience, and instead of seeing them as pain, just see them as emotions, you know, see them as experiences. Because at the end of the day, it's just an experience, right? You know, that's what works for me, I guess.
So you sort of you're trying to take the emotions out of it and think about it logically. Like when I'm anxious, I would be like, okay, I'm feeling anxious. Instead of
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, I'm so anxious and poor me and what's going to happen? Am I going to be like this forever? And is this going to be blah, blah, blah? Instead of like, Michael, you're anxious, it goes over.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah, yeah. It's like most of us, we are being swept away by the stream, you know, by the ocean. But what I learned to do is instead of being in the ocean, in the river, you were standing on shore looking at the river, you know, so you're observing your emotions instead of being one with it, you know, because for me, when I get, let's say, angry, I think to myself, Non, at this moment, anger is arising, or you notice the anger is arising, you see it, you know, so you don't say, I am angry, you know, I don't say that. I say, I notice the anger is appearing. You know, it's like if you're in a house and someone knocks on your door, you don't have to let them in. You can notice them and say, oh, look, it's Michael. I don't want to open the door for him, you know? And just do that with like your anger or sadness, or you can see it and notice it, but don't be a part of it.
Oh,
Yeah. What do you think about that? Or what do you do?
it's very interesting. Like how you sort of, it's this what you describe is called labeling. You labeling, or part of it is labeling. Like a lot of people in stressful environments use that successfully. So if you're a CEO and your company is going through a really tough time, then you say, okay, this is financial pressure, this is stress, this is angry coworkers, this is this, this is that. So they label the emotions and they put it sort of on a like a whiteboard. So they have that in front of them. So they can actually, as you said, you observe the emotion instead of making it take over. Because we have two systems. So as a human, you have the logical system and you have the emotional system. And we're driven by the emotions. So that's why we know it's bad to smoke cigarettes. We know it's bad to eat sugar. We know it's bad to drink alcohol and fatty food and all this, but we still do it. So when something happens, the emotion kicks in. So that's where you like, okay, pause. Let's think about this with the logical part of the brain, and like pause. Okay, Michael is here. I've locked the door. He's knocking. Okay, will he get angry and kick in the door? Probably not. He'll probably send you a message and then he will drive home. So it's a
Yeah.
very interesting technique to use.
What do you use, Michael? How do you deal with it?
Uh, I try different techniques, but I think I I think back to the past and I tell myself like, okay, last time this happened, it wasn't that bad. It will be fine. I'm reassuring myself because it's mostly I don't have anger issues. It's mostly anxiety, and then I'm starting to worry, and then it's like a spiral. I'm worrying about feeling anxious, and then leads me to be more anxious, and then I think, how about I get this all the time, and it will be worse and worse and worse, and I just have to stop myself and distract myself and just say, fuck you, anxiety. I'm ready for you. Come up. I'm in the boxing ring with you, and I'm going to punch you in the face. And going into the boxing ring, I used to hide under the table and just go away, go away, go away. So in one word, confidence. When tough times are coming, like viruses, whatever, tough times, when you get knocked down, that's really when confidence will be as true as possible. Because when you get knocked down is when you're getting yourself up. When things is hard and you're getting yourself up. When everything is going well and you're so confident, that's not confidence. That is fake confidence. And some people, they are lucky or they're very talented, and because of that, life is easy for them, but they're not confident, because if you would take them, strip their money and just drop them in a town somewhere, they would really struggle. But someone that is confident, you could drop them anywhere and they would recover easier, and they would have the strategies to deal with it, and So I think confidence is key point during times like this.
Confidence that things will get better, that you can deal with it no matter what happens, And I think with all this, we realize how connected we all are.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're like ants, like we work together, and if one thing falls apart, then it creates a domino effect and everything falls apart, and it's like, wow. That's why we need to be confident much more than we are.
Yeah, and we're gonna go through this, and we're gonna be stronger. But it's like being punched in the face. There might be a bit of pain, and there might be some funny teeth, and we might have to go to the dentist. But and it will cost a lot of money going to the dentist, but we will be fine. I'm confident that we will be fine. So, Nun, how was it doing the podcast on video?
Yeah, this is quite interesting, huh? It's different, and I don't know. I feel like we can get some other people. Like if we can't get them in real life, maybe someone in a different country, or we can do podcasts and interview them.
Or like a communist, cool. Or someone that we don't want to have in the house. Feminist. Nah.
Oh, that's funny.
We can. So yes, I let you. If you want to bring anything else up or say anything before we wrap up, I'll let you do that.
Yeah. Well, I guess with everything that's happening, I really hope the viewers, focus on positivity and use this time to figure out what you want to do after this outbreak is over. Because I think a lot of people will live very differently than now. So hopefully it's an eye-opener for some of us, so that we can live better lives and to prioritize what's more important, what's important in our lives. Because sometimes we forget. It's so easy to forget when we live busy lives and we're so focus on that, it becomes like a habit, you know, and eventually you don't even think about it, you just do it. And you don't even know why you're doing it, you know, so this will pass and hopefully everyone stays safe.
Very well. I have to share a quote before we end, and this is Socrates during the Roman Empire, and he once said, "The secret of happiness is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less." I thought that was really powerful.
Wow. That's really powerful.
Do you have any favorite quotes you would like to share before we end?
Share before we end. Not really, Michael, but I guess, as
You have
always,
to.
never give up, eh?
Never give up.
Never give up. That's it. That's the
Alrighty.
quote.
Alrighty, Nern. Awesome to see you, and
Awesome
take
to
care.
see you. Yeah.
And we will thank all the listeners. Thank you so much. And especially you,
guys.
Chris. Chris, if you're listening to this, thank you. Thank you so much for listening. And thank for
Thank you,
everyone
guys.
that
Thank
listening.
you, everyone.
And share as much as you can. Because we're talking about the coronavirus, we won't get any advertising because YouTube is demonetizing everything, but we don't have enough viewer anyway, so it's all good.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter because money is just a thing.
Yeah, we don't need money. We can, you know, loot things. No, I don't know.
We can steal things. Okay,
Anyways.
take care, Nun, and
care.
yeah, thank you everyone, and we shall see you next time.
All right. See ya.
Okay, see ya.